Morning everyone, thanks for joining us. Just wanted to make some comments on what was heard in a London court overnight. Comments or allegations that would appear to be outlandish and made by a person of dubious repute. And I note that many of the comments that were heard overnight have already been rebutted by various people. I respect the fact that legal proceedings are ongoing in regard to this matter, and so I need to be somewhat careful about what I say. But in a general sense, and as a starting point, one of the things that I would like to say is that Cricket Australia has a very strong view about corruption, and that is there is no place for corruption in our sport. And if there is one skerrick of credible evidence against Australian players, then we will work with the ICC to ensure that that is investigated with vigour. In respect to the ICC, I note that they have a very sophisticated anti-corruption unit, a unit that has numerous members on its staff who work and attend international cricket matches everywhere in the world. Every cricket match in the world has anti-corruption staff at it, monitoring the activities of players, officials and others. To that end, we haven't been able to speak to the ICC overnight. Obviously the time zone makes that a little bit difficult, but we'll certainly make contact with them very quickly once they wake up this morning. The other thing I'd like to say is that I think these sweeping statements unfairly malign Australian cricketers. As I say, if there is one skerrick of evidence, we will investigate Australian players. But in my dealings with the ICC, I'm very confident that I would know and I would understand if there were concerns about Australian players or allegations about players or investigations afoot in regard to Australian players. I have heard none of that. The ICC attend every single international cricket match with their anti-corruption unit, and there is nothing that I have heard to suggest that there are Australian players who are of interest to them. Thank you.
James, if there's no basis to these allegations, why do you think this gentleman would then choose Australia of all nations to go after and say that Australia's the worst?
Oh look, I can't answer that. I can't say. I mean, he's made numerous comments overnight that have drawn in various people. So it's difficult for me to say why he would say Australia and not someone else.
So at this stage, do you plan to sort of do nothing about it, in terms of investigating or asking questions at all? Just wait to see the
I think with the legal proceedings afoot, obviously we'll monitor as best we can what happens through this case. But certainly once the case concludes, we'll work closely with the ICC, and if there's anything that can be picked up out of that, and anything we need to understand, then we'll review what comes out of it and work with the ICC on that.
James, it must be frustrating, to say the least, that you'd be standing here today on what seemingly is baseless allegations, but mud does stick sometimes.
Oh look, there's no doubt that, as I say, I think that these would appear to be baseless allegations, but at the same time, cricket needs to stand very firm in its conviction against corruption in our sport. And if there are allegations that have any sense of credibility around them, then it's very important that we take all of the necessary action to investigate.
Given that this was a tabloid sting, effectively, that uncovered this, are you confident that those ICC mechanisms are in fact enough?
Oh look, I think that there's no doubt that the game needs to continue to be vigilant. The publicity around this is a very clear reminder that there are people out there who want to corrupt the game, who are looking to corrupt the game, and it's very important that we take a position to protect players and officials and the sport itself from being anything but a proper contest.
During the World Cup, 2 of your players were accused of fixing. Is it time the ICC changed its no-comment policy to exonerate players who aren't under investigation?
Can you just repeat that question?
During the World Cup, when Haddon and Watson were sort of accused in a newspaper of being involved in fixing, the ICC doesn't say anything about fixing as a policy. Do they have to change that policy to exonerate players who are?
I don't think Haddon and Watson were accused of fixing. Let's be very careful about what we say there. Again, it comes back to a position that we need to take and to treat any credible allegations seriously. If there is any issue or there is any concern, we will investigate them. If we charge players and we find them guilty, we will have no qualms about issuing a life sentence on players who are found guilty of match fixing.
James, ideas like bracket betting, is there something that should be done perhaps in the betting on cricket at the moment and the ways that you can bet on games?
I think certainly here in Australia there are issues that are being handled very well, and certainly commend the action from that the federal government is taking in conjunction with the state sports ministers and attorneys general in progressing legislation that will see us in a much stronger position to clamp down on corruption and ensure there are no corrupt activities in our various sports.
James, you obviously think these are baseless allegations?
As I said before, there is nothing that I have at hand to suggest that these are anything but baseless and outlandish allegations. I'm very confident that through my dealings with the ICC, that if there was issues of concern or players who were being monitored or looked at closely, that I would understand more about that. The ICC have not told me of anything, and on that basis I'm very confident that these are nothing but baseless and outlandish.
Two more questions, folks, and we need to move James along.
Will you be seeking a chat with the ICC as soon as the time difference allows, or you'll wait for them to come to you if they've got anything?
Oh no, we will definitely be talking to the ICC later today just to understand that. Obviously this has come overnight. It's been heard in a courtroom. I understand the comments were recorded something like 12 months ago, so perhaps the ICC are aware of more. We'll try and understand a little bit more if we can.
Have you talked to the players at all?
No, I haven't spoken to the players today.
One last question.
So this is the first
Yep.
you've heard of it, is it, James, from the court proceedings? You hadn't heard of it previous?
Certainly, that's the first. I only heard about it this morning, yeah. So I mean, obviously, we're responding to that today.
Joe, sorry, will you talk to the players at all, or there's no need, or how are you going to approach that?
Look, I think what we'll do is once we've spoken to the ICC, we will get an understanding, and I mean, I think the players generally will give them an update in whichever way we see fit. It might be just sending a message through to them, or players are in different places at this time. Some are on their way to South Africa or in South Africa, and others are playing Shield games and other things today.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks everyone.
Cheers.